Good afternoon folks, hope you're doing really well. Welcome back to another little video. And it's the last Monday in July. I spent the whole day in my office staring out of the window at this amazing scorcher of a day. Got to 3 o'clock and I just gave in. So I've jumped on the bike, got a little bit of water, nothing else. And you know, what do you do when the weather's this good? Well, you go to the beach, of course, and I've just taken a wrong turn. I'll take you to the highest little beach in England, tucked away in Calderdale of all places. And I probably can't hold the camera in one hand, so we're going to go on these little single track paving flags across to Gaddings Dam. You might just be able to see it on the horizon, and I'll check in with you when we get a little bit closer to today's destination. What a scorcher of a day, it's absolutely beautiful. Oh. Well folks, I'll have to just show you the beach from afar today, because there's an awful lot of people there. It's just on the other side of the reservoir over there, and there's just a little beach in the other corner as well. This is a little place that's been featured in national press actually as like a wild swimming spot, and yeah, it's a lovely little spot, and being local you can come up here in all weathers, all seasons, and I've been up here before and that little beach is completely deserted, and what a beautiful spot it is. Studley Pike in the background and just the whole of Calderdale down that way. Just amazing kind of 360 views. Not quite the Highlands where I was in my last video if you follow the channel, but it's a lovely little local spot all the same. And yeah, I want to talk about that trip, and we'll get into the topic of today's video in just a second. I'll just get the other side of Gaddings and find a quiet spot to regroup with you there. Whew. Well folks, the riding around here is not technical at all, and certainly not at the speed that I'm going today. But that being said, I can't hold the camera in one hand and ride at the same time, so I thought I'd just stop here. And as I probably said in the last little clip, we're not in the Highlands, and that was where I filmed my last video. It was about 35 minutes long, so you know, condensing 5 days into 35 minutes is quite a fun challenge actually in terms of editing a video. And one of the things I really like about making these little videos and stringing these clips together is you get the opportunity, you know, to act as a sort of what would you call it, director of editing, or you make editorial decisions about what you film and how much you show. And of course the main thing I was trying to get across in my previous video, which was the Badger Divide up in Scotland, was just a flavour of what we were doing each day in terms of riding and where we were and the landscape. And you know, of course you pick and choose what you want to show, and there's obviously a danger of always trying to put the ride or put yourself into a good light. I think those that probably follow along on the channel would probably recognise that I don't always do that. I'm quite happy to film the rough with the smooth, but yeah, I mean, it is hard to get 5 days into, you know, half an hour or so, and there's obviously a lot that you cut out. I mean, I could have got half an hour out of just tackling midges on the trip. I could have got half an hour on just conversations that Ian and I had about, you know, is it this way or that way, which turn, which route. you know, should we cut this a little bit out, or should we plough through this a little bit, or how do we get around this, or, you know, all that sort of stuff. So there's kind of a lot that you edit out. And one of the things that I certainly could have got half an hour with on the last trip was just the amount of kit that broke on the trip. And it sort of got me thinking about the quality of some of the outdoor or the bike packing or the cycling kit that we use, and, you know, whether we have expectations that are too high for some of the kit that we use. You know, are we asking too much from outdoor kit, given that by its very nature it's designed to be you know, tested to destruction almost. You know, you're getting outside, you're getting outdoors, and if you're really going into remote places or doing extended trips, I guess you're really testing the kit that you use. But, you know, that being said, there were 4 major bits of kit that failed on me on the last trip. So I thought in a little video today, I'll just tell you what they were. You probably saw one of them on the video, which was my pannier rack. You can see, well, I might just insert a little clip of what happened. I can't remember what side it was now. Yeah, it was this side. So this bolt just sheared off completely, actually in the last 9 or 10 miles of the trip, and I've obviously fixed it. So I had some spare bolts when I got home, and it's sort of as good as new. You can still see the marks where we had gaffer tape. Just holding it together. I actually put as well a shoelace from the sort of seat rail onto the rack, and it did a reasonable kind of bodge job. I mean, I was so glad that didn't happen on day 3 when we were right way out remote behind Rannoch Moor. That would have been a different sort of challenge, I suppose, on the trip, but certainly not one that we couldn't have overcome, I should say. And there's always options if you stop and think about what you need to do and how you can fix something, or how you can kind of get a workaround sorted out. But yeah, pannier rack, and, you know, to be honest, I don't begrudge that. I've been using it for a good number of years. It's been on many trips, and pannier rack bolts do break, they do shear off. I was fortunate, I think, on the trip in terms of when that happened and where it happened, and also being able to kind of get a bodge together to get us back into Glasgow. But I had 3 other bits of kit as well fail on me on that trip, and one of them in particular I'm really kind of annoyed about, and it'd be interesting to kind of get your thoughts and maybe compare notes about whether you think it's unreasonable that I'm a bit cheesed off with this particular bit of kit failing on me, or whether actually that's just, again, par for the course. It goes with the territory, and you can't expect, as an outdoor person using bits of kit, you can't expect it to last forever. But yeah, I'd be really interested in your thoughts on one particular bit of kit. But I'll run through the other 3. I'm just going to jump back on the bike, and I'm doing a big loop here, so I think we have a little bit of slightly more technical riding, and then we're going to get up onto the horizon and sort of loop back round and pick up the sort of access road that got us into this little high spot. So yeah, enough blathering. I'll get back on the bike, and we'll go through the second bit of kit that failed on me. It's probably the only trip I've ever had where more than one thing's failed, and in the last trip, you know, 4 major items just went kaput on me, and I don't know, is it a sign from the backpacking gods or something? Who knows? Anyway, enough blathering, let's get back on the bike. So the second bit of kit that failed on me the week before last up in Scotland was my cycling computer, my GPS unit. So I've had to say goodbye to my trusty old Wahoo Element bolt, which I've been using for about 6 years. It just kind of went a bit Joe Biden, so to speak, on day 3. Just kept freezing, forgot where it was, got stuck in the past. Came back to life on day 4, started working again as normal, and then just went kaput again on day 5. It's been playing up for a while now, actually, and it just started with little minor things like having to try a couple of times to sync it to my phone. But then I've been getting these error messages that I've just been kind of cancelling out on the unit, and they haven't seemed to have affected the GPS too much, but it's getting to the point where the GPS just wasn't working. So yeah, ordered a new GPS unit, and I think it's arriving today, so quite excited to say goodbye to the old bit of kit, even though I absolutely loved that thing. It was perfect for what I want to get out of a cycling computer, but I got a new one which I'll introduce to you in a future video. Again, I don't particularly begrudge that. 6 years of use, you know, all weathers, all conditions. It's got me through all sorts of tours, on road, off road, and it kind of, you know, gave up the ghost on the Scottish trip. We had some backups, so we had offline maps with us. I'd studied the route a lot before we set off, so you know, I had a good sense of where we were and how we could bail each day if we needed to. So again, yeah, kit failure, bit number 2. Feel all right about, quite comfortable about this one. Let me just get through this gate, and I'll go through the 3rd and the 4th bit of kit. The 4th bit of kit really has wound me up, but it might just be me. We'll see what you think, see what you make of it. Right, let's just crack on through this gate. So again, the 3rd little disaster that descended upon me on this trip, which I didn't obviously edit into the video that I made, was I guess maybe this is a bit more of a tenuous link to bikepacking kit, but the trainers that I wear, which are Salomon Speedcross trail running shoes, and it's a real staple of my wardrobe, would I say that? I don't know. I mean, it's kit that I've just used and used for years, and when I wear out a pair of these trainers, I just go and buy a new pair. They really work for me. But the sole on the left shoe just started coming off at the front. Never happened before, and I don't know whether I've caught it on a really sharp rock or something. And you know, we had some river crossings on the trip, where I was kind of hacking around, not really seeing what I was stepping on, so whether I just caught it on something and kind of tore it. But it was another gaffer tape fix, and I'm actually wearing them today. I don't know if I can show you this on the bike. That might not be visible, but yeah, again, same gaffer tape that fixed the pannier rack is still holding the sole on this pair of trainers, or trail running shoes, while I get a new pair sorted out, or while I get a repair sorted out. Not sure if a repair will be possible. Had them for probably 2.5 years, never had a problem with the soles on these shoes. Salomon is a pretty well respected brand in the trail running scene, certainly, and is known for, you know, being pretty sturdy, pretty well made, and I'm a bit less comfortable about that one, to be honest. I'm a bit more surprised. As I said, I've had these Speedcross trainers for years and years, and done all sorts of trips and trail running back in the day with them, and never had an issue. I mean, the soles obviously do wear, but they don't come loose in my experience. So I guess I'm just chalking that one down to maybe I caught it on something, or maybe it was just the way it is, in the words of Bruce Hornsby. Anyway, 4th bit of kit. Let me just get out of this wind. Hopefully it's not coming across on the video, but yeah, this is the bit that really has cheesed me off. And again, it's a bit of kit from a supposed very high quality brand, and I really was not expecting it to fail for many more years to come. And it actually put me in a bit of a predicament on this tour, and quite a lot of discomfort as a result. Right, let me get out of this wind. Whoa. So just to introduce to you the last bit of kit that failed on me. It's a bit of a moaning video this, I don't intend it to be. I'm just interested in people's thoughts on this actually. So it's the evening of day 2 I think, and just got back from Karor station where we had an evening meal, and I opened my tent. I just kind of sat on the bottom of my camping mat to just faff around in the sort of the entrance to my tent, and there was this almighty bang, almost as if somebody had popped a balloon right behind me, and I thought, what the hell is that? And you know, I quite quickly clocked that it was something to do with my camping mat, and I thought, oh heck, I set my tent up over some thorns or some spikes of some kind, and one's just gone through the bottom into the camping mat and just burst it. And it hadn't quite gone down, so I was just sort of wondering, yeah, what's happened, and trying to scrabble around to find my patch kit and all that sort of stuff. And then I noticed in the middle of the camping mat, and this is a Thermarest ProLite Apex I think it's called, just in the middle there was this massive sort of bulge, and I thought, oh, that's really strange. And then I kind of lay down on it, and then there was this strange weird noise coming from the mat. It's almost like if you imagine a toddler with like the stickiest hands in the universe, peeling them off the leather sofa or a leather cushion or something. It was that kind of sound, and then another couple of pops, and before I knew it, basically all the air from the Thermarest was right in the middle. It'd be right under the small of your back as you're lying on it, and the rest of the mat was completely flat. And I just thought, oh, this is going to be really interesting, and what the hell do I do? It's obviously not a puncture, but it's completely deformed the shape of the mat. So it's got a long rant, and I could really rant about this for days. That's kind of cut a long story short. I had night 2, 3 and 4 sleeping on pretty much a deflated Thermarest. I could put a tiny bit of air into it, but if you put a lot of air, it just went into this weird bubble in the middle. And of course, when I got back online and picked up an internet connection, I sort of googled the issue, and then stumbled across, I mean, literally hundreds and hundreds of examples of where this had happened, and apparently it delaminated. That's the correct term for what happened. So yeah, after one night's use, and I took that bloody mat. I have a few different mats, but I bought that and I took that because, you know, if you really want maximum comfort and maximum warmth, it's got great sort of thermal qualities, I suppose, when it's working. And that's the reason I took that mat on this trip. I just wanted to be super comfortable, and it turns out it wasn't actually that cold, but I thought, well, if it is cold, again, I want to be really, God, the cows don't move here. I want to be really protected from, you know, any cold coming up through the ground. But yeah, I had one night of comfort and 3 nights of pretty uncomfortable sleeping. I mean, I probably wouldn't have minded when I was like in my 20s or something, but as a near 50-year-old, I do like my creature comforts when I'm camping. So I will contact Thermarest and, you know, see if there's anything they'll do about it. And it might be that they offer a repair or replacement. And I've had a couple of issues in the past where I've done that, and I'm not really somebody that, you know, writes those letters of complaint or anything like that. And, you know, I do accept that gear does get tested when you're outdoors, and it doesn't last forever. But I've had that Thermarest for about 3 years, maybe just under 3 years. I've used it a bit, but I wouldn't say it's been heavily used. I've always stored it according to the sort of instructions from Thermarest. and you know, I've maybe used it 30 times, something like that, and I just think, maybe this is me, I'd be interested in your thoughts, dear viewer. I think it's pretty outrageous that it failed on me, and in the middle of bloody nowhere, in the middle of the Highlands, left me with some very uncomfortable night's sleep. Now we did pass on, I think it was day 3, we passed through Killin that had an outdoor shop, and I was really having a dilemma as to whether I went and bought a new camping mat, because I knew if I did I'd probably have to throw the Thermarest away, because I didn't have the capacity to carry that on the bike as well as a new mat. So I made the decision, and I don't regret it, because it was only a few nights, to kind of persevere, and also it wasn't that cold as well, as I said. But you know, whether or not Thermarest replace it or offer a repair or, you know, do anything, and by all accounts maybe their customer service is pretty good, I almost think in a way that really doesn't matter. And the reason we buy, you know, we go to these brands that are more expensive, supposedly more robust, offer better quality. You know, the reason we go to these brands is we think we're going to get kit that's good quality and that's going to last. And you know, people will just slow down, there's a big group up ahead, I don't want to waffle right through them. You know, people will buy kit like that to take on really testing remote expeditions, and you know, we were just up in Scotland, which by UK standards is pretty wild, but you know, you could have bought that camping mat and gone out to the Himalayas or to, I don't know, the Arctic or something, and you know, if it messes up, you're really out on a limb, and you know, it could be potentially quite serious. And I don't know, are we asking too much of these brands? Are we asking too much from this kit that, you know, if we invest in them, they really do last, and that quality really is assured? You know, I should have just taken, in hindsight, a little bit of foam, you know, one of those foam mats for 10 quid from Decathlon would have done the job better than, you know, the really expensive Thermarest that I ended up taking. Right, I'll continue my rant when I get the other side of these people approaching. So do let me know if you've ever had a kit failure and it's left you in the lurch a little bit, in dire straits a little bit, and you know, whether you chalked it down to just natural wear and tear, or whether it was a real surprise from a brand that you maybe trusted, or a bit of kit that you bought because you thought it was going to be really good quality and, you know, it turned out otherwise. Really interested to kind of hear if you've had similar experiences, and very unusual for 4 things to all kind of go wrong on one tour. I know they say bosses come in 3s and maybe kit failures come in 4s, I don't know. It's always an excuse to kind of get some new, brand new shiny kit, which is always a nice thing. But yeah, I guess those of us that do these outdoor activities, and you know, cycling is quite tame in comparison to, you know, maybe winter climbing or rock climbing or something, but I do think there's something about needing to trust your kit, you know, more than if you're playing tennis or something, I would argue. And yeah, for some of the things that failed on me on this tour, yeah, fair enough, but that Thermarest really bugged me, and maybe it's just me. Again, we're really interested to get your take on it. Anyway, we're just about to hit the road, and then there's a little descent down before we get home and that big cup of tea, so I'll sign off here. It just remains to say, stay safe, take care, and happy cycling. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.